My mother doesn't know what we do on Saturday nights. She didn't tell me not to pull your hair back like a Pez dispenser, that I can't crack the ribs at the back of your chest. Does she think I'm the reason you don't take your shirt off in the shower? On Saturday nights, I drag your nipples across the bricks of a blacklit room like I'm trying to erase our sweat from the walls. She didn't tell me this is love. She told me to be good. You like to punch your fingers inside of me and pop out holes where pegs will go. I am mass-produced. Your hips are a piston pumping like pleasure, like quota. Then, like boys tend to say, do you like that? Yes. My virginity wears blueberry stains on his shirt. Nobody told him not to touch beautiful things. Now his fingernails are stained with earth. The fine white shirt, mother-made, bleeds blue like blood before breathing. Is sex supposed to be like a breath? You dress me like the girls you watch on TV. With my feet hooked to headboard and teeth drawn lipstick, my black eyes cast shadows, purple against green. And when you're not around, my waist disappears until I have hips. Say my name. No, like you're forgetting it. I write and rewrite the poem over again and then over again, and the space between pen and body dissipates until I'm scarring you with my ink. Baby, I cannot decide how to love you like a punch in the stomach if you are so tender that when we kiss, we sink in drifts like gentle ships and then drown. And that was called Sex and Other Kinds of Love, and I didn't say it because I'm kind of nervous. But this next poem is called Love Poem Number 1. In the back garden last spring, in the shallow plot lined by cinder blocks, underneath non-fruiting peach trees, I fertilized his body with lawn clippings and unfinished meals, with oyster shells and banana peels. Love of my life, before sun or bird or bee, I crept on anxious feet and watered paid-for dirt and weeded earth and fended off wild suburban beast. Love of my life, I grew him in the garden last spring, who grew yellow corn hairs in the fall, who was ready for harvest, who was taut and strong, did not taste like the sun, dew, or wind. Man of my dreams, this one did not taste like you, but walked forth with miracle-grow smile, into the house, into my room, into my bed. It wasn't that you weren't, it's not that you are or are not. I have carrots grown also in my backyard, thin as you. So this spring I moved to the woods and hollowed out pine trees with elk antlers, and slept in living coffins apt to catch forest fire. I foraged through the earth, tore through roots, and froze my fingers off in the bitter morning air. And when I found you, my darling, you were thin and pale, and your skin did not rose with the cold. Your bones were frail against mine, but they tangled together so sweetly in the two hollow cells of our chest. A penitentiary caught the wind and spun it around and around, and then around again. And for me, that was enough. Love poem number 2. They met in Las Vegas. 2 boys, 19, unable to drink or gamble or club or do things that you do when you are in Las Vegas. I do not know how they got there or why they were there. They met in Las Vegas and he took his hand and he pushed his body up against the metal frame between MGM and New York, and he kissed against the wire fence and left imprints of cold lattice in midnight air. He and he held hands in hotels, walked down halls eating leftover oyster shells. He and he were too young to know what Vegas felt like. Then he pressed him to the bed, fucked him until he felt dead. The AC in the room clicked to life, it breathed out into the air with cold fury. Sex turned to clinging for the fun of it, then clinging as a matter of survival until he lay there on the bed, pale and blue. No, he did not feel dead. He was indeed dead, and laid his gentle body in the tub. He had to drive 10 minutes out of this city to find a place that sold any dirt. He met a woman named Pam, and she sold him a full bag of Miracle-Gro. He returned to him and filled the tub with soil, turned the shower to boil, let it rain for 14 days, and wandered around the casino floors. And when he returned, there was his man, brand spanking new. And when he kissed his lips, they tasted like fake soil, and he thought to himself, it's better this way. Yes, I'm sure of it. And now I am going to introduce Kailey Alyssa. She grew up in Las Vegas and is now residing in Longmont, Colorado. She is a current MFA student at the University of Colorado Boulder, as well as the poetry editor of Timber Journal. She likes camping, craft beer, and coffee. Her work has appeared or is forthcoming in Dredgenold, Heavy Feather Review, Hobart Journal, Juked, Pacifica Literary Review, and Vanilla Sex Mag.
Is this okay? Okay. Thank you for introducing me. I love that our poems get to be on this space, on this stage together. They get to be in conversation with one another. So, like any master's student, these are pretty much all for my thesis because there's nothing you really do your third year other than look at, think about, and breathe your thesis. So, yeah, here we go. So it's nerve-wracking. Passive suspension of air. Scene one, take one, began slowly, then all at once. First night center empty like rosebud and open palm. All salt, marble, she likes her body next to his, likes the way he nibbles at ear and waters houseplants. She dreams of dropping the baby again, hands outstretched. Talk of seismic possibility heightens and they move like honey on the edge of twisted spoon. Divergence. She's on her stomach, body bent to Lily. He likes when he can pull himself inside her, when close shave is side valley. Smoking out back rooms with pants off is a normal Tuesday while the dog sleeps and their trash cans wait at the curb. To see him as she does, peel back breastbone, wait for roots to sprout. Fissure. Darkness more inherent than absence of light, or the way thorax bends to reveal dent. The very woods beneath your feet, you waded outward, you opened wide, you held with real arms. Ocean not as end, not as beginning, not as violet rest or rebirth, the look on your face when you pause at a dream of darkened sidewalk, at vessel rolling through low lungs like glass breaking a dusty fold. Air can't feel the throat, can't hear the split, just gets bluer and there's nothing to do but enter. Nothing but movement occurred, but moment passed, but teeth nipping earlobe like prayer forming ground up. Like forest limb, like seedling, like belly swollen in the sea. Confluence. Scene one, take one. A dick is poised on soft spot and she steps into frame as filament bursts. She's done this before, wedged herself into sideswipe, counted purple bruises on inner thigh. What if she likes it when her hair gets pulled, when he comes on the small of her back, when he fucks her on the bathroom counter and her ass cheeks are cold? Scene one, take four. Even Ted Bundy was offered life imprisonment. First time in criminal history, someone murdering with a feminine touch. Some might say she signed herself up for this starvation, highway hooker, but the idea of a woman having the audacity to kill a man, a woman who happened to be a hateful lesbian prostitute, a woman who tarnished the names of all of her victims, brought dear Eileen Warnos a special kind of hatred, yet I still have to say to myself, I still have to say that it was in self-defense because most of them were either going to start to beat me up or were going to screw me in the ass. Last bite to eat. A deer lies dead with branch of alder in mouth, and she wakes after the same dream about the same baby she keeps dropping from her same arms. Characterized by breaking rocks into smaller rocks, she sits next to lake, crushed beer can near brown legs, and waits for storm to start or pass. He shows with flowers, divides mosaic into steep canyon and steel hurt, gets her body from cliff into water with easy smile, a warm hand on lower back. This is hard work. Okay. Back slope. Story goes on, a hand on ass cupping over steeped tea bitter at finish. She circle steps the word cock for fear of flushing, legs crossed at ankles. Opens ribs like a bottle, like a Bible, and watch how clumsy the skin tears, how easy it would be to force yourself into bright ache of thigh gap or dry gulch, to swan dive off balcony and feel real impact. Air mask. Arrive home to shower on, steam rising like prayer hummed over valley. She enters as slope against him, wetness as movement instead of moment caught by glare of ritual. They search for a town where people wear horses as shoes, where light cracks under the pressure of gray and isn't afraid. But new to feelings that break before the bow, they begin by producing vibrations artificially. Still, he'll take her panties off later when the neighborhood is silent, this thread between them like mile-long driveway in Georgia. Cinder cone. Their vessels sway in the kitchen, side pressed against length. A single card disappears behind a single hand and a mouse scurries across the floor. They anchor to counterpoint as moon forages and begin to notice blue, the way it fades into or onto darkness on the side of his face like a knowing. She imagines a place they only have music for, where she can lay her body next to his, ankles brushing final chord. But, like all true things, heartbreak extends like a body of water, usually the sea. Migration. They move like buoys on mint green sea, a little wavering then churning frost. Easier to see with a blindfold on, him wrapped around her torso as range of hills between mountains or magma once again erupted. Reappear like motion in serialized form, a blue in hand wasted on a bridge, his mouth on inner thigh as standard definition for sincerity. A bent limb, the flick of a lighter, a blue flame. To frame a suicide as murder. New scene, perfectly symmetrical violence of sucking yolk. Behind, back, his eggs graze her hips and revert to such a state of domestication toes curl inward. They remain like snow year-round, vessels quiet against a handsy god, their lips edging shoulder blade, curves appearing first as diaspora, then again as whimper on body. Two more. Small town of. As a potential victim of homicide, it's more likely she'll be killed by a current or former partner. More likely when she lays in bed, he'll appear as snow dancing on a river, that he'll whisper a prayer before soft pull of trigger. Tide sounds. Under sweaty bed sheets, scene opens like a scene tripping upstairs, his hands on her ass, his teeth grating nipple, bodies rising like salt piled, like sunrise, like spasm, this hole in a bathroom wall. Curve of cock swells to stomach, a fly buzzes by, and her vessel fractures open earth, revealing warm pink center. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was excellent. I can't wait to read that book. Yeah, that's going to be really, really good. Thank you so much, Kailey. And thank you, Dyllan. That was really, really excellent. And thank you, Innisfree. Really appreciate hosting us tonight. And you know, be sure to pick up some food or a book on your way. And So the next, we'll be here again Wednesday, March 8th for Erin Kyle. She writes fiction. She's awesome. She's into like gardening and fairy tales and great things like that. I really like her stories. So show up Wednesday, March 8th for that. And let's give it up one more time. Big round of applause for Kailey. Thanks so much. Goodbye.
Of this?